Okay, so now the car is working, but we forgot one thing. I mean, we didn't forget it, but we just let it for later. It's about the lights. As you saw in the video, previous video, probably. Off-road, the rear lights aren't working, same as the indicators. So that's not something hard to do. Really not hard at all. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. So just check something. Okay, nice. So I have the lights there. That's gonna be the headlight. That's gonna be the big headlight beam, the extra light. We'll have the indicators there. And same for here. Just check something before we start. Work 7 rear brakes. How do your rear lights are working? Show me. Okay, you're restoring, but I need to see how it lights. How it lights, please. Okay, never mind. So what we're gonna do is like having just tail lights and brake lights the same. We won't separate them. It's possible to have separate braking lights and tail lights. So in game, the tail lights are the one that are lighting when it's getting night, and the brake lights are the one when you're braking, obviously. So I can separate them. So for example, I can make the middle one having the light when it's just dark and having the brake light activating when you're braking on this one. But what I can do better, not on this model, but if the rear tail there had a little brake light thing, could I make it lighting too? Anyway, so what you're gonna do is like just hop up on the little text file there on the Google Doc. So this one is made by, how it's said there, written by the famous Serial and people from the Modeled Free Farm. And we're gonna just go on the little section for the lights IDs, so it's there. So how it works, it's pretty easy. You have a light, okay, and this light normally should have a name. So those both are the headlights. I will say that these ones, the two white on the left and right, are the extra lights. So it's when you're having a higher beam on your car when it's night, those ones will light up. But you can choose it, by the way. But I think that on this model, it should be like having the headlights there and the bigger light there. But you can do it however you want. Anyway, what you're gonna do is like having those as headlights, and the other ones when you pressing 2 times the lights when you're at night, so that they're gonna light up. On the sides, we're gonna have the indicators, same for there, and braking lights. So in game, when you're lighting something, you should have normally separated part for headlight left and right. Same for the brake lights, the tail lights, and all the indicators. So what you're gonna do is having something more user-friendly, so that if you want to make a tuning part, for whatever reason you want maybe to change the color of the light itself or having different headlights like pop-up headlights on the front, it's gonna be compatible. If you don't do that, when you're gonna change the light, the first one will work, but the second one that you're gonna add aren't gonna light up because you have on the tuning parts section a little thing that says that you have to remove a parent. So the light's gonna be the parent itself. And if you do that, the game will consider that the car don't have any more those lights, even if you add another one on top of these ones. So to start with, we're gonna just make dummy helpers. So normally on the car, you have like left one, then you have a right one for the headlights, and those things should be the object itself. But what we're gonna do is just having dummies replacing them. So when you change the object, it removes all the scripts of that object. So let's say that you have a tuning part, it removes the bonnet. So it will remove the hood there. In game, it's not gonna be a problem on this one. Same for the doors and the trunk. But if you remove the lights itself, it's gonna just remove the script for some reason. I don't know why it's doing that. So to avoid that, what you're gonna do is you make a parent that have the proper name. So it says that on the car, until you don't remove that parent, that is in fact the dummy there. So if you remember on the tutorial, it's a little square. Very tiny here. Hello. And the moment you're not saying the game in a script to remove this headlight, it's gonna consider that it's always on the car. So when you're changing the object itself, so here's gonna be MISC B, for example, not MISC C, sorry. If you don't change MISC C without, if you don't remove, sorry, the dummy, you can change however you want the object. It will still consider that there is this headlight somewhere on the car. But if you call the MISC C, you separate this one, for example, the left and the right, and you call them MISC D and E, and you don't have a headlight like this, a dummy or any object, it's not going to work. And the same way, if you replace the headlight that is the object itself, it's not going to work too. Like it's going to replace it, but the light's not going to work anymore. So to avoid that, easy. Just put a little dummy of each names of the light that you want to keep on your car. And you put them in the car. Easy. So we need to have the headlights, we need the brake light left, brake light right. So those two. Then we're gonna add each indicators. So why? Yeah, I didn't say it, but in the dock you have all the name of each parts, and you have their ID. So be sure to have any dummy having their proper names. If you add a little s to taillight, like you do a misclick, you call it taillights underscore L, it's not gonna work. Same for everything. Like you need to have the exact same name that the game can recognize that you have there. So we need the indicator left front. Okay, it's like the wheel, so this one is gonna be easy. So this one is gonna be left front, so LF. Then we need the RF for right front. Then we need the left rear, and then we need the rear right. So it's rear left or left rear. Yeah, okay. So just like that. That's the first step. So we're sure that now the game is recognizing those dummies as a light that's gonna emit something. And actually what we're gonna do is place them on the car so that when you're activating them, you're gonna have a beam going outside of the car that's gonna be in the exact same place of each light. If you don't do that, if you just put the dummies there, it's gonna emit the light from the dummy. And the same way, you have little dots that represent the lights in game to have emission on the object. In fact, it's not the object, it's just the axis that define where these dots are. So that's the corona. Yeah, I know. It's called like that. I don't know why, but it's called coronas. And those are little dots that are recognized by the game that you can manipulate after on the files. But for now, we're just gonna like place them. So we're gonna create them and place them properly in front of each lights, so that when they're gonna appear, they're gonna be in the place of the lights, so that the emission is going its work at least. And I think that I'm gonna also hide the dots for each lights and make another video to explain how this works when I'm gonna make the video to explain how to make add-ons in GTA 5. So yeah, there is no secret on that. You have to move each dummies. So again, you go on Modify, Move for the moving tool, and then for the selecting tool, you go on Select and Quadra. So you just select with right click, you drag and drop like that. And you know to deselect is you keep Control press and you do the same thing. It's going to deselect an object. So you select them one by one, and you have to place them so that they're facing the lights. Easy. So it don't have to be accurate for the moment, but when you're going to make the add-on, you can, for example, divide the number of coronas that are going to be on the car. So rather than having one dot, you're going to have two. And it's going to recreate the two light beams that are there. So when you're on the front, you're not going to see a beam, but the dots that emit the lights directly to your eyes when you're facing them. And when you're going to turn the camera, you're just going to see the beam outside. And you can also control at what direction the little dots are appearing. So that you recreate the effect of when you're on the side, you don't see them, and when you start to see the first light, it's gonna slowly appear the more you angling your camera to it. So it's taking, in fact, the position there, and you'll have a parameter like, I don't know, it's gonna be maybe 40, 45 degrees. So it means that when you're at 45 degrees on the side, the 46 degrees is gonna disappear. At least visually when you're facing it. The beam itself is another parameter, and we're not gonna touch that, I think. But anyway, for now, just place it on the front. So for that, you have many views there. On each view, each windows, you have a view modifier. So you can check your car in different views. You even have a UV editor that we're not gonna touch for now. And just take any view that's easy for you. So I think that the front and the side is gonna be the best ones. And move them so that they're facing somehow where the lights are. So I think that's gonna be good. For this position, we're gonna be on the side and be sure that it's gonna be inside. Let's say like this. Don't have to be very precise, but the more precise it is, the better it will look, I assume. And for the other one, so the other side, I'm gonna just copy this position. So for that, you go on display, copy localize from one node to another. Click on the first one, it's gonna make this line, and then you can go on the second one and click on it, and it's gonna move it from the first position. And a little trick there, rather than having to place it manually on the side, what I can do, just go in isolate mode when you're clicking on an object or a dummy, and you have a very useful tool. It's not really a tool, it's a feature, sorry, which is in transformation, its position. You have also the rotation and the scale that can be modified. But for now, we just need to have a negative position or positive, depending on where it is. So everything that's on the left side of the view, so when you're facing back the car, everything that's on the left is a positive value, and everything that is on the right is a negative value. I'm going to use that and just negate the position value of the dummy to place it exactly on the other side where it should be. But there is a little thing that you have to keep in mind is that when you click on the numbers, it's going to take only the 3 digits after the dot. So to be very precise, the best is to remember which are the 3 last numbers. So here it's 286, and when you click on it, you just add them back, 286. And before clicking, we just put a little negative value. Press enter, or whatever, you can click wherever you want. And after you apply, boom, it's moved. And now we have the perfect position for our right headlights depending of the first one. And we're gonna do that for all the lights. So the brake light left, of course, we don't have anything positioned, so we're gonna move this back and copy paste the right one after. So let's say it's somewhere there, and like that. And got the back view there. Zoom in and position it slightly like that. Okay, and now on the side, do not have it too far from where the actual lights are. Gonna position it like this. Don't have to be very accurate again, but the more accurate, the better it is. And same thing, I'm gonna copy the right to the left and position it as a negative position on the word. So it's 318, 318, and you go for on the left negative value. Press enter, apply. Very important to apply. If you don't do it, it's not gonna apply it. And you're good. For the left indicators, so I can copy the headlight to be sure that it's not like that. To be sure that it's gonna be close to it or somewhere near it at least. Even if it's not very helpful, but why not, in fact. And again, we position it so that it's somehow where the indicator is itself. Like this. Put it a little on the back. Let's see when I zoom in. Actually, let's do it properly. So a little thing there. If you want to see what's through the dummy, you can just uncheck the solid state when you have this dummy selected or when it's isolated. When you uncheck that, boom. It just show you the sides of it. And it's easier than to just put it exactly where you want. Let's say like that. Yep. And after you can put it back to a solid object if you want. That doesn't matter. And again, as the left one is positioned properly, I'm gonna put the right one at its position. Right from there, and I negate the value. So it's 976. 976. Don't forget to put the negative value, apply. That's done. And here I can copy paste properly the brake lights on that, because I just have to move it to the left and then negate the other one. So the left rear is there. Up. And then we move on the side. And a little on the back, I will say. Let's make it transparent. So the back here. Up. You can even rotate them if you want. If your light is rotated and you don't want the light beam to be exactly on the back of the car, like facing the back there, you want to have a little rotation. If actually your object is rotated, here it's not, because the outside of the light is facing directly the back, but let's say it's on the side, you have an indicator there, you can take it and rotate when positioning the little, how it's called, a little pivot directly on where your dummy is. So obviously not like I'm doing, but you go on the left view, you press X to position it where you want, and then you go on the front or back view and you do the same like that, and then it's gonna be properly placed so that you can modify it. And don't forget to like check the rotate axis only when you're moving a dummy, because it's actually considered as only a pivot or an axis if you want. So for me, it's not necessary. It's properly positioned like this. Gonna check the solid, and I'm gonna just copy the position. So again, display copy local axis from one node to another. You click on it, the one that interests you. Then you click on the one to move, and you apply. Then you rewrite the values of the position and you negate it. So yeah, the left and right position is always the x-axis in ZModeler. The y position is already top and bottom, and the z is front and back. So for now, yeah, I forgot the extra lights. So it's gonna be the second light when it's night, when it's dark. That's gonna light up when you press your light again. So in control is the right D-pad. I think that, yeah, should be the D-pad. So I said it extra light. think it's _1. Extra light 1. Well, okay, so it's not with the underscore. And extra light 2. I'm sure that the game recognizes it with the underscore, but we're gonna just leave it like that for now and check when exporting. If you don't have a proper name, I didn't say it, but if you don't have a proper name for those lights, it's gonna tell you that the game, the modeler doesn't recognize it as a proper ID object, I think, and it will say that it maybe won't work as it's intended. So that's a smart move from the dev that makes the modeler to tell you, like, maybe it's gonna be a problem if you thought about something that need a script. So yeah, GG to, I don't remember his name, the guy who made the modeler. That's a good move. And the indicators is, yeah, left front. Okay, it's not on the left. So let's take the indicator position for the extra light to start. Then I'm gonna just move it a little on the front and on the side to be sure that it's facing the proper way without being too much inside. Really don't like those coronas, to be honest. Little dots that recreates an emission. It'll be so easy that your game can just like make an emission from where you are, when your object is. So if you don't see something that's inside an object, you can just go there and you check this semi-transparent. It's gonna show you everything with, I think it's a 50% transparency. So you click it again. Whoa. Can you stop? What the hell are you doing? Okay, the modeler is going retarded. Stop. Okay. Yeah, it should be a 50% transparency. So when you're doing something on the left view, on the top, on the bottom, you can put it as semi-transparent and then you see everything that's through your car. Can be useful for moving things and to see where your objects are, in fact. So I don't need it. Come back there. Sometimes also on the view the axis is disappearing. I don't really know why it's doing that. But when it's doing this, you can just control your views there, either your axis already there or going on another view and manipulate it directly from there. So just apply this, I see where it is, okay. Properly placed, again display copy local axis from one node to another. I'll take the first one to apply the other one and put back the other values, position X, negate it, and you have it properly placed. So that's for the light beam. Actually, what we set up. We're not gonna make the coronavirus working on the car because coronavirus is bad. And now the last steps, because that was the 50% of the work. So now we place the dummies. We show that it's gonna emit the light and that whatever we change on the car, the moment we don't say remove the headlight left will be considered always on the car and will always emit the light from its position there. That can be tricky if you have a light, for example, that's moving from there to another position. But I think that that never happens in cars. You don't really change the position of lights, or at least you don't show the dots when this is happening. You just show the emission of the light beam and it can somehow work properly like that. So yeah, that's the first steps. So if you had an object rather than having a dummy, you will have to separate everything if it's attached before. But as we don't need that, we're just gonna do a little thing before having all the lights working. So actually, how the light works, they're working from the vertices. I don't know why it doesn't work for polygons. At least for me, I think that it never worked before. If I just put the ID on the polygon mode, it doesn't work. So yeah. To select the object, you can be in polygon mode, but to apply what we're gonna do, you'll have to be in verticals mode, vertex. So here I'm just gonna modify the headlights So I'm just gonna select them, and those two will be considered as the headlight left in game. And now that this is selected, you go in vertex mode. So it's gonna have this little normal showing of the car, and that's gonna be just a factor to see where it's appearing. And now that this is selected, you'll see that there in external state you have ID. And this is exactly where we're going to put the ID of the light. And for that, you just go on the video description. You'll have this link without the edit there. Not going to be able to edit it. And you're going to scroll down. So I'm going to be there. Just scroll down until you see lights IDs. And you're going to take the ID next to the name of the light and put it there on the external state. So here, headlight left is 1, so you just put 1 there. When it's done, you apply. And now you don't have to do anything else. Your headlight is working. And now the best thing to do is go back in polygon mode, deselect this part. And you're gonna do that for each lights of your car. And of course, you don't have to only select an object that should be the headlight. If you want, you can make all the lights be a headlight. That doesn't matter. It just depends on what you want to do. I already saw people recreating fake brake lights by using the brake light ID on the brake discs. And they were using, I think, a mesh that's not moving and that was transparent enough to be lighting up in game. And it's too complicated. Forget about it. And oh yeah, I remembered something else. We have to do something else before doing that. I just remembered. Very bad move from me, but we're gonna do it just right after. So for now, just select all the lights and put the ID inside. So again, you go in polygon mode, you select it because it's easier. You can use the separated tool, not the crowd because if you do that, it's gonna select anything else outside of it. So the separated one is gonna take all the things that are logically attached to it if it's set it up correctly and should work for your car. So just select it. When you have everything you need to light up, go in vertex mode, go here, external state, ID, and you apply the proper ID depending of the light name that you need to set up. So here it's 2, I apply, I go back, polygon mode, and select it. And yeah, that's a little process that you have to do. It's a little boring sometimes, but have to be done if you want everything to be set up properly. So here it's 5. I'm gonna do the extra light directly. Ooh. So that's left it's 14. Like this. Right indicator. LF, RF, that's 6. So I have RF. Yeah, okay. That's 6. The other one, extra light is 15. Oh, I was directly in the view where it did that. So the front is done. Let's do the back there. And I forgot to put the music, but that's not really important, isn't it? So here the brake light left is 9 and 10. So here it's 9. Gonna do the rear indicators right away, so it's 7 and 8. So this one is 7. Apply. Go back in polygon mode and select it. Keep doing it. So the right one is 10. Like this. Apply. Polygon mode and select. This one should be 8 if I'm right. Indicators rewrite. Oh, 8, yeah, 8. 7, 8, and brake lights are 9 and 10. Okay, so now all the objects have a proper ID. But there is one thing we didn't do. We didn't set to the game that those objects should emit a light. And this is the very last part. I always forgot to do it. So it's making the shader that's used by the object a light. But the problem there is that the outside of the light itself is also something that's gonna light if I keep it like that. So what we have to do at last is select all the lights. So everything that we added an ID. In polygon mode, it's easier. So be sure to only select that like this. So again, in the separated tool. So all this is a light, so we don't care where we click. Now that's done, we have the light pod. So it's in interior too. And you have to click on it. I'm just clicking outside to be sure that it's gonna understand that I'm on this one. Because sometimes when you just click there and you try to copy to delete, it's gonna just delete the last one that you clicked and not the one that you selected. For some reason, I don't know why. So you just click on it, and when you're sure that it's on the shader that you want, you click there. And this tool is just a copy. So it duplicates the material. It's gonna make a copy of this one. And we're gonna put it on the very top. If you don't do that and you apply on something, for example, you have a glass that's tinted and you have a light inside that glass, it's gonna, for some reason, make the object that's under in the shader completely disappearing and invisible. So to avoid that, put it on the very top and then you apply it to everything we selected before. So now it's new material. We're gonna call it the same as lights pod to know that it's this one, but we're gonna add emissive. You can name it however you want, it doesn't matter. And last thing to do is to change its type. And the type we want is the vehicle light emissive. And it turned a little transparent and lighting some reasons. And then unfortunately we have to reapply the other setup that we did for the texture, so the V-share. Here with just the carbon mesh shader spec in the mask, and as I like to have the PNGs as spec map for some reasons, just place them back, but you can just leave it with the DDS how they are, how they were, at least for this one. This one was a different one. So texture, mask, spec map. When that's done, you're finished. We're gonna work in game. I'm gonna test it right now. So again, like the other ones, that's another car. Oops, not in the. Yes, we are. Forgot that they added there. I think it's there. No, it's not. That's the server thing. Where there? Yeah. So it's there. Export. So again, you have to export the first one and then copy paste it to have the higher deficient one. So there is no mistakes unless the spoiler name. I don't know what it should be named. It's not spoiler, let's call it misc_y so that don't have any error. Not necessary to do that for this part as we have only one error. It's not gonna change anything, but just to be sure that we have no errors showing. Nice and smoothly done. So now this is done. Don't need this for now. And we're gonna check the car. You don't have to add any textures as it's using the same one as before. Just make a copy paste of the one that you exported. You add _hy, like before, to make it working in game. And actually it has 15 megabytes, it's still working in the textures. Okay, why not? Then you're gonna replace the one that we did before, so we can test it in game. And you're pretty much done at this point. If you did exactly how I said, like having the dummies, having the proper name, that it's properly named, that you have the objects having their IDs in the vertex mode, and lastly that they have the proper shader applied to the part of the object, so isolating the object itself, going polygon mode, selecting each part, and as you can see the texture has gone brighter. That means it's properly set it up. And when you have selected everything, you just go on the shader, you click on it, you create a copy, it's gonna be fully down there. You take and drag it to the top, and then you apply it on the lights, and after you just change the type. So my mod is on, is called, yeah. So it's there, and I just drag and dropping them there, and we can launch GTA 5. There it is. So it wasn't really hard, but a lot of people don't really find how to do it for some reasons in the ZModeler forum. When I started, I think that I didn't understood at all like how it's working, because I was in polygon mode and it always showed me like that it's not working in game even when everything was set up, and all that was because I was doing that ID thing in polygon mode. It's very frustrating when you're trying to do something and that happens. I think that's what most of people felt when they tried to make their first car, I don't know. At least now you have a tutorial that I don't know if it's decent, I just hope it's gonna help as much people as possible. And if you get a problem, you can contact me in Discord. I don't remember if I put my Discord name in the video. I'll add it later. Just say hi, I'm this, I follow your video, I have a problem there. You show me pictures somehow if you can explain me with pictures, and I'll try my best to help you. Like all the steps for making the car until this point is really not hard at all. You just like understanding what you do and how the game is working. You have after deeper things that are harder to make, and I can understand that, for example, the mapping of the part to have a template to make liveries can be tricky for some people. But just by trying and understanding what you do, that you're gonna learn how to do it. And I'll cover that in another video anyway, so don't worry. If you don't know to do it and you really want to do that on the car, it's gonna come. Maybe not right now, but it's gonna come. I'll drink a little, sorry. Actually, I was thirsty, fuck. Okay. So of course, the first time you launch the game, it's always taking time to load. Because no caches. God know why they made a cache for this shit. This GTA Outline's really a joke. I'll hide 5M, even if the devs are dumb fucks. At least the lead, I think that the lead developer is the one that's doing the messy shit. Anyway. Okay, we're in game finally. Menu, please. RX 7 tuned, there it is. And Boom! Magic! Yeah, so apparently the texture is white on the outside for some reasons. But as you can see, it's working on the front and the back. And if I press again the lights... it's not working. Fuck. Fuck. The extra light beam isn't working, but at least the normal lights are. And the brake lights. Yep, it's not very visible because I didn't add in the corona. But when you're braking, it's lighting a little stronger than how it is. So yeah, for the white thing, I think that you just have to select the brake part that is outside. Don't know if you saw it. Oh, I selected the offset to give some style, so I think I'm not gonna change that for now. For some reason, why the spoiler and the back is white with the... okay, yeah. So that's normal. That's normal. I'm gonna talk about that later. Why the spoiler is back on its base texture. It's not using the livery, just using the white spec map. But yeah, so this is working. Where are actually the... Oops, something explodes. Not me. This is me. I'm sorry. Sorry, don't cry. Just run in fear. Actually, you know what? Just disappear. Thank you. The indicators. Lights menu. How do I execute the indicators? No, it's not like that. And the light, neon lights. Lights menu. Left. Yay! Left works. Right. Yay! It works! Yeah, the back one is working too, and the right one is working too, so pretty much did the job. Yeah, that's cool. So only the extra light isn't working, and I think that's because of the underscore, and for some reason it didn't tell us that the underscore isn't proper, so we're gonna change that right now. So very easy, you just change the name. So when you have an extra light, you just put an underscore. I think that's it. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be that. If I remember correctly, I always did with an underscore and the autosave, of course, there. So here they are. And I'm gonna correct a little thing. I'm gonna show you this right now. If you ever had your car with your livery disappearing, like the little details like on the back turning white and all, where you had a black texture, whatever the color was, you just select everything. You go in polygon mode after. You check the quadra, you deselect everything, and you go on buy material and you have to select the car body paint. And when that's done, you go on surface, edit UV, and you redo, sorry, exactly the same steps as when we make the livery working. So you edit the UV channel map 2, you generate new one, copy for channel 1, and you force the mapping on the car body paint. If you didn't do these steps the first time, it's not gonna work when you're gonna try the car, and when you leave ZModeler, if you don't redo these steps when you open it back to do this modification or whatever you want on the car, delivery is not gonna work again because we're using a vehicle paint free that is using a shader that have as detail a white texture and as a second detail our livery texture. So that's a little complicated said like that, but this is how it works. So it apply an extra layer on the front before having delivery. And it when you close the modeler, it just forget that it have a livery applied and the mapping copy pasted on the second one. So as you can see there, it's back again to the black color. And the best thing would be to really avoid this thing is to have everything that's using a livery that's not the actual paint. So I think that the door thing, the mirrors there are using the same, the spoiler, the back, the carbon tail, the lower part of the bumper and all, is using the same paint. You can just copy paste the same way we did the light. Everything when it's selected, you copy paste the shader and you make it, rather than having the vehicle paint free there, you make it as a vehicle generic mesh. Easy. And when it's done, you just change the spec map as something dark, very dark, like a black, so that you're sure it's not going to have any reflection. And if you want a little reflection, you just make it a little more grayish. Not very bright because it's going to be chromed if you do that, but that's how you have to do it to correct that thing. So now, sorry for explaining all this. If you don't really care, you just wanted to make your light working. So we're gonna just yeah, didn't delete it. So I'm gonna just re-export that. Fuck. Not the proper name. So it's not tuned, it's tuned like this. And we don't have any errors too, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna work properly. So we copy paste again the HY version. So yeah, it's good to just watch the video and then apply everything when watched everything, because as you saw, I'm making mistakes sometimes. I mean, all the time I'm making mistakes. I'm trying to hide it as much as possible. But cool thing is that everything is working properly after. So of course I have to wait for the NVIDIA thing until I start writing like this. Come on, you can do it. Nice as 15, huh? That's a little project I'm doing. Probably don't care, but just saying. I'm doing the kind of copy of it and recreating some parts as I want. Not really having 100% same shapes and all, but yeah, having fun with that. I encourage you to try to make your 3D stuff too. When you be done with all the converting thing, when you learn everything, when you had converted 50 cars, 100 cars, million cars, the number don't really matter, but when you get bored, just try to go into 3D stuff. It's very satisfying to have something that you did and that only you have, maybe, if you're doing something new. And cool thing is that you can convert it after, because you learn how to convert the GTA 5. So yeah, it's a win-win. And after, if you want to export it to Assetto Corsa, you just learn from a video from Assetto Corsa and you do the cars in any game you want. And GG, can even make money from it. Easy life. Anyway, let's stay on what concerns what we're doing here. And the lights. Boom! Sorry. Boom. Boom. Actually, the extra light works. So when you're lighting the first time, just have the headlights working. Actually, the dots are working too. So that's the coronas that I was talking about. I can't really zoom on the image, but the little dots that are on the front of the headlights are the corona, and you can remove that after. For now it's gonna be very light on the front, so not a real problem for you. And for the extra light it's really good, because if you position it, if you have the same model, you don't have the two different lights on the front, so very win-win situation. Yeah, so it's done. It's really done. And it's done properly. This time I have a red bright color because GTA is doing shit with things that don't have a proper paint colors. So yeah, we could have done also the little ones. I didn't do it, and I think that I'm gonna do it right now. I completely forgot about that, I'm sorry. The reversing lights, the little white thing on the... again, something exploded, okay. Never mind. Let's do the reversing lights. So if you check the file there, you have also reversing lights. We're gonna do, you have the brake lights that we did. You have a brake light middle. That's for when you have a middle light on your car. Let's say on the spoiler, on the trunk, on the top of your rear windscreen. Yeah, you can do the same thing with it for the light. It uses this ID in the game. And I think that's pretty much it. We cover everything after. Yeah, so we just have the revisiting light to do. So same thing as before, you just add a dummy. Sorry, because you have two different sides. So it's reversing light left, like this. And we have the right. Put back the dummies. And be sure to place them on the top. I mean, it's not really important, but the moment you're not having it below the collision, everything's gonna be good. Not even sure that the dummy really needs to be under that, but just take good decisions. Having proper things. More accurate, the better, remember? I'll say that's a good habit. No, it's not habit, what's the word? It's a good thing to do. Just remember by that. Okay, so it's gonna be on this position somehow. Remove this to have transparency on the back view. Okay, so the dummy is there. I place it somewhere in the middle to have the beam. Let's say like this. Okay, so this is properly placed. Oh. Need to check back the solid. This is properly placed. Take the left one. We copy its axis for the right one. We go on properties for the right one. We go on position. We negate the value and add back the three missing last digits. Like this. We negate it. Boom, it's placed. The beam is now done. And we go on the light itself. And it's not on this thing. Okay, it's not on MISC C, it's on bumper rear, because we did things properly. If we remove the bumper rear on the car, it's gonna remove the light as it should be. Good thing. Very good thing. And we don't actually have to make MISC something, and that's it, like this, so it's cool. So user view is to not go through objects, but be careful when you're zooming. If you want to go back on this position when you're zooming out to something else, I don't know. Let's say mix B, and you have zoomed there, you see that it's gonna move all around. So be sure to zoom out. Go back on the center, move the camera, do it again, move the camera, do it again, until you have proper facing. And we also have the indicators there that we can do. But yeah, I'm gonna do them too, so that everything is done. So like this, just of course autosave. When we don't want to, we can hide the dummies, we don't really care about them. And I select the separated things till we have somehow everything. Okay, so I have the left one. So I'm gonna just apply it directly in vertex mode, external states, ID, and it's the 12 and 13. 12, like this. Go back in polygon mode, we deselect it. Go to the view, select all the parts of the lights, go back in vertex mode, go to ID, put the proper ID, apply, go back in polygon mode, quadro selection, deselect, ID is applied. And let's do it right away. Make it as a light emissive in the shader. Before quitting, like this, up. We have it there, just click on it, drag and drop, it's gonna show the actual shader, and then do it again, boom, emissive. These ones are done. And as I said, I'm gonna do the fenders there, because it have also ones, have lights, indicators. So up, this is the left one. And we're gonna apply directly an ID of the left and right. It's 5 and 6. So when the front are gonna light up, this one are gonna light with the front. Remember when I said that it doesn't matter which one you're selecting, you can even make the whole car if you want lighting up. It's just about the ID and the shader that it's using, in fact. So I said 5 and 6, right? Yep. And 6, like that. Apply, go back in polygon mode, and this time I will only select those two things. It's light the glass actually. So this is a thing that you must be aware of because it's not using the same shader, and I did the same mistakes there on the backlights. Oh no, it's okay. It's okay because it's the same texture. Okay, didn't say anything. Forget about it. The light glass can be the same shade as light, but we don't really care about that because it's the same texture. So that's done. We have the IDs. We have proper textures. I did the reversing. I did the other indicators. The car is ready to be exported again. It feels a little like a not a die and retry, but just trying again, until things are fixed completely. When you have experience, you don't really think about this after sometimes after your 50th car. Yeah, 50th car, probably. Let's say after your 100th car. You won't really think about it because you're gonna do everything automatically. Gonna just be like washing your hands, adding lights, shaders, adding IDs, adding this, adding that, boom. When everything is done, you can test it the first time and all is done, you don't have to do anything. Get the money, bitch. Of course, don't get money from converted cars until you don't have made the model. And by made, I mean 3D modeled, not just copy-pasted from a game. Depending on the country, if you're Russian, you can do whatever you want, I guess. Because you Russians don't give a fuck about that. Don't have the same laws outside, but here in Europe, and particularly where I'm living, myself, you can have trouble because of that. Justice things, you know, stealing content that's not yours, blah blah blah. So when you have a GTA 5 mod and that you just unlock it and make modifications, if you sell the thing, or if you go in gamemodels.ru, that's a Russian website, and that you are Russian and that you claim the models, you can have low pursuits. That's very bad, so don't do it, please. If you're selling stuff, be sure that you have made everything you're selling. And by made, it's not just converting. That was my little message. Topic closed. We don't really care about that. We're just like here to make the lights working. Fuck off music, and we're gonna see that the rear lights is working. So I wasn't going back, but it's working when I'm going back. The indicators will work too. So the right indicators, you see that we have this one, we have the one on the side. It's very bright because of the texture itself. The darker it is, the better it will be looking. As you can see there, on the front is yellow, so somehow the game is feeling like it's darker, so it's not gonna make it too bright. But the white color is always a problem because it's very bright in game. Anyway, tutorial is done. GG if you made it to the end, I mean. Now you have the working lights. I don't know what I'm gonna cover next. There is a lot of things I can talk about, like how to correct the sides movement here. That's maybe too intense for the car. As you can see, it feels like a floaty old 70s car. Can fix that. I'm gonna talk about it when I'm gonna probably explain how to make custom collisions. What we can do? Oh, the delivery thing is a good thing to talk. I think I'm gonna do that, yeah. How to unlock delivery, because at the moment, if you followed all the tutorials that I made them, you can't change the color of your car. You're like, what the fuck, man? What did you broke there? So it's not broken. It's just that your texture is a straight color, and this color is a white. And that's what we're gonna fix in the next episode, I think, if it's not another subject. Anyway, GG if you made it to it. Now the lights have a proper color, it's lighting, it's good, everyone's happy. Yeah, so bye bye.